First, I wanted to thank EC Council for hosting this event. And today we will focus on how ethical hacking can shift organizations from reactive damage control to resilience to proactive resilience. And of course, I will show you real examples, live demos, and practical controls you can take away. But at first, I want to introduce myself real quick. My name is Omar Tamer, and I'm very glad to be here with you today. I hold CEH Master, CPENT, LPT Master certification from EC Council, and I'm also certified in Python programming and multiple penetration testing domains. And I'm the founder and the lead developer of OTSec, which is the offensive IoT and OT security toolkit. I deliver hands-on penetration testing and red team engagement, which helps an organization to defend against real attackers. And I am top ranked in major CTF platforms, which keeps my technique sharp and very good. Okay. My work focuses on penetration testing and simulating real-world attack scenarios. And I'm also an international cybersecurity speaker, sharing insights on ethical hacking and IoT and OT security. First, I want you guys to see our agenda for today. We will cover the attacker advantage and why proactive matters, and the role of ethical hackers across domains, and a couple of short demos, including password cracking using John the Reaper tool, and shooting metadata, which is something very useful for you guys, and of course the IoT case study. And the last thing will be the CEH value. First, let's start with the scale of the problem. Okay, at this slide, guys, I wanted to show you the top cyber threats for 2025. Of course, ransomware and phishing are still huge, but the headline here is the supply chain attacks. I want you to remember these mixed numbers. As you can see, ransomware 35%, phishing 40%, supply chain attacks 45%, and other is 15%. Let's start with the ransomware. If someone new to the term ransomware simply the attacker encrypts data and demands payment. And nowadays, the modern group also destroy the backups, and target cloud storage to remove the recovery option for organization to push the organization to pay the payments to decrypt the data. The mitigation for the ransomware simply is isolate the backups, network segmentation, and strong or practice incident response. This will reduce the impact. And the second is the phishing part. Of course, phishing is a term many people talk about, even a lot of awareness campaign in modern days talking about phishing. Phishing simply it tricks people to click on fake links or even fake login page. So from my perspective, the cure for phishing attacks is mostly in people's hands. Simple stuff, verify URLs, slow down if there is any typo or any links, check where the links going to for example, fake Google login page. And of course, use the multi-factor authentication. The key for the phishing is use the multi-factor authentication. And for my advice for people, phishing awareness beats more attempts than any single tool. Any mitigations you put it against phishing, it will be hard, because phishing is attackers targeting people, which is the weakest part of the system. It's people, not the system. And the third thing will be the supply chain attacks. Um, let's put ourselves in the attacker's shoe in a minute. Let's just say, imagine a target organization which has a very great defense, employee training against phishing, as we talked above on the phishing part, and backups are offline, so the ransomware will not spread. So let's just say they are very secure, okay, on paper, but they rely on a third-party vendor to manage updates or monitoring the own organization. Okay, if someone new to the term third-party vendor, basically, let's just say you are using a payment service on, like you put another company inside your organization to, let's just say, for the payment service or cloud. So if they got hacked, the attack can, or how can I say it, the attack can spread into your organization. So the attacker find the weakness inside the third party instead of your organization. So you need to put more, how can I say it, to put more time on selecting the third party. For example, the payment service is very, very important, because the data, it's not data, the money will be in a very bad or a very dangerous area. So this mainly the supply chain attacks. Okay, the mitigations for it simply just use trusted or software third-party vendor, or do not just defend your organization and just remove the third-party vendor to handle it. You need also to defend against it, so the virus or the attack cannot spread into your organization. And the last thing will be the other, which is basically the DDoS attacks. If someone new to the DDoS, which is distributed denial of service, the primary of the DDoS is to shut down the service. It is a huge amount of requests sent once to make the organization, let's just say, unavailable or shut down for amount of time. So the service cannot handle this too many requests. Okay, let's go to the next slide. There is a very controversial question, which is why traditional defenses are struggling to keep up. From my perspective, AI and automation are rapidly tipping the attacker's advantage. What do I mean by that? Today, the attacker no longer needs every programming language, or to learn every programming language, or even any let's just say term. If someone new to, let's just say, for example, cross-site scripting attack, if someone who doesn't know this term, he will just put it on any AI and he will explain it in seconds. So we can summarize what I said by they can describe their goal into an AI model and get a working code in minutes, which is something very dangerous, because someone who only knows Python can instantly generate Ruby or C code, or even Go programming language. So something very, very dangerous. And of course, phishing campaigns are now automated and highly personalized. So the surface keeps expanding, as you can see. This speed shortens the window between the discovery and exploitation for zero-day flows. So what used to take weeks of manual can now be generated or prototyped in minutes. So defender has to move just as fast as they could. Let's just say by using behavior detection, continuous threat hunting, and using AI assistant detection, of course, and response. Next, I want to show you guys what is proactive. Like the term proactive you keep hearing about, but what is proactive? I try to simplify the definition of proactive into three main words, which is, the first one is anticipate. What do I mean by anticipate is running attacker style tests. What do I mean by that is to map how hacker might try to get in. And then we'll do the prevention. What do I mean by prevent? Just fix the biggest risks first. For example, log vendor access. If someone new to the term, log vendor access basically means limiting what outside supplier can see or change. Only give them what they truly need, we can say it. For example, use temporary or unauthorized access, and do not just approve all action. You need to watch each action they request. And the last term is resilience. What do I mean by resilience? Is practice your response playbook. Term playbook is very easy. Let me explain it for a second. Playbook is a simple step-by-step plan for incidents. You can say it like a guidebook. For example, or it's used for who calls whom, what to shut off, or what to restore. So basically, just a guidebook for you. And as you can see on this slide, I wanted to do small comparison between reactive security and proactive security. From the word reactive is you just detect and then you wait to respond for it and then recover from the incident. So you can see the difference here between the proactive and the reactive, because proactive is anticipation, as I said, then prevent, and then build resilience. So you can say you remove the attacker options before they cause damage. Or think of it like reactive is calling the police after a break-in, or the proactive is locking the windows and the door so before you leave. So this is like small definition to differentiate between the reactive and the proactive. Of course, locking the window and the doors will not be like 100% secured, but at least you try to lower the percentage. Like, let's just say if it's 100%, let's just decrease it by 10% at least. But when you try to secure a system, securing a system 100% is not possible. It's impossible to secure a system 100%. So you try to lower the percentage as you can. And then this slide highlights how we stay proactive and just simple steps. Let's start with the adversary emulation and the red teaming. I have small definition for adversary emulation, which I find very, very straightforward, which is, it is a planned simulation of a real hacker, fully authorized, no damage, and our goal is to test detection and response. We copy the same TTPS, which is technique, tactics, and procedures used by a known group threat. Okay, so this test reflects what the real attackers do in the wild. So it's like very, very important step in the proactive. After the emulation, we attack path mapping. What do I mean by attack path mapping? We show how small issues can link together into a bigger breach. And after the attack path, we transfer to the supply chain controls. We make sure our vendors are transparent, which I talked to you before about the supply chain attacks, which how important this is. We make sure our vendors are transparent, and are transparent about the software and the tools, of course, we limit how much access they get, and we keep this access short-lived. So if there is a breach, we can still maintain the damage. And then we go to the CI and the CD hardening. The CI and oh, my bad. Oh, sorry, my bad. Oh, the CI and the CD hardening. CI is continuous integration and continuous delivery, or I think deployment. We try to lock down the build and the release process, and of course sign the artifact as a software artifact, and try to build or scan dependencies. So we stop the malicious code from reaching the production, because if the malicious code reach the production, it will be a huge loss for the organization. So we finish the CI, and then we go to the least privilege and the identity hygiene. When I talk about least privilege, it's a very simple term. You just give people and system the only access they need, nothing extra. So we can say only, let's just say only the access required to do the job, like not giving anyone extra, like everyone is doing job, just giving the right permissions to it. And the last thing will be the behavior detection and the playbooks. What do I mean by behavior detection? Behavior detection is just look for the abnormal behavior, not just the known indicators, of course. When something odd happens, the playbook tells the team exactly to do automation, to do what. So automation contains the threat in seconds. And the term playbook, I said it before, which is a clear checklist for incident response. Then let's go to how ethical hackers play the role as defenders. First, we act like a real attackers, as you can see. Let's just say during one red team engagement for a finance client, we found a vendor account with excessive AD privileges. We applied the full chain which is the reconnaissance, and then the privilege lookups, and then lateral movement, and then the sensitive payroll data, proving the attack was fully feasible. So that's power of red teaming, not the theory, but the real world validation of how an attacker could break in. So we can summarize it by, you need the attacker mindset, not a checklist. This reveals what a tool alone miss. And then, as you can see, we deliver a prototyped usable findings, which is after the emulation part. We didn't hand over a 50-page report. We just give a short authorized remediation pack, so manager could approve fast and engineer could fix fast. And then you see we help team focus efforts. What do I mean by that? We worked with the system owners to turn findings into sprint tasks and risk ratings, of course, with the DevOps team and the identity team. So we choose the high impact changes and cut the low value work. And then we build description and repeatable process, which is something very important this step. We partnered with the blue team or the SOC team to create a focused detection rule from the real telemetry of our emulation, so which is contain the logs, the network traces, and behaviors we saw during reconnaissance and the lateral movement. So we added a small playbook with a containment steps and a test case. So one finding become a repeatable detect and respond capability. And then the last thing is like I don't think it's not seen as a technical side, but as a business side, which is we showed the leadership the outcome and removing the privilege and deploying the detection reduced high risk by at least 50%, and of course cut the MTD from days to hours. If someone new to the term MTD, which is mean time to detect, and simply it is the average time it takes to notice and attack for incidents. So lower MTDD means faster detection and less damaging. Next, I'm going to show you guys the security domains for the ethical hacker. One second. Wait. For the ethical hacker. First, as you can see, we have the network domain, which is simply we test lateral movement, network segmentation gaps, exposed sig management interfaces. So a workstation compromised cannot reach critical servers. And then we have the application domains. What do I mean by application domains, or what we do in the application domains? We hunt for authentications flow, injections, and logic bugs in web and application mobile apps. Of course, we test SQL injection, authentication bypass, IDOR, cross-site scripting, and weak session controls. And then we have the cloud domain. The cloud domain, we check for too many identities and permission spread around unsafe service configuration and expose automation hooks. For example, tokens, pipelines, or webhooks that attackers often abuse. And then we have the IoT and the OT. We are going to talk about it, of course, on the case study. So I'm just going fast on this. It's like we test the device firmware, default or weak passwords, and open service like Telnet or FTP that are exposed to the control interface. And then we have the last thing is the Active Directory. If someone not familiar with Active Directory means, it is, let's just say, it's a central identity system many companies use. It stores users, computers, permission. If an attacker controls the AD or the DC, to be more technical part, they can often control the whole network. So what we do at the ethical hacker here, we tighten who can do what and secure admin access with multi-factor authentication and manage service credentials and keys properly. And then let's go to the exciting part, the demos, the live demos. As you can see here, we are going to talk about two demos. First is the password cracking with John the Reaper tool to show how weak passwords fall fast, and then the shouldn't exposure. First, let's start with the password cracking. As you can see here, the scenario will be the password, the real password will be password123, and we are going to use the algorithm MD5, and we are going to use the tool John the Reaper, as I said before. The method will be brute force attack. I'm going to explain all this term if someone new to this term in the next slide. And the results, of course, in under 5 seconds, which is something very scary. As you can see here, the video show you a real example of how attacker can steal your password. But if you want like a technical part, we let's just say what you are seeing is a stored password hash. If someone new to the term hash, because at first I was new to this, so the term hash was very unfamiliar to me. Think of a hash like a fingerprint for a password. The application doesn't keep the password in plain text. It stores the fingerprint instead. In our RAD, the password was password123, as I said before. But the system stored only its fingerprint created with an algorithm called MD5, which is a message digest 5. If someone wants or curious about what is MD5, to be more technical, it is an older hashing method that is very fast to compete. That speed helps attackers because they can test millions of passwords or guesses per second using optimized hardware and curated word lists. So let's get back to our part. If an attacker obtains the fingerprint, for example, from a leaked backup or let's just say poorly protected database, which often happens, they can try many possible passwords until one produces the same fingerprint, which is a brute force attack. And if they succeed, they have recovered the original password and can log in easily. The mitigations for this, there's too many, but from my perspective, you need to use salt. if someone new to the term sort is a short random value added to a password before hashing, so identical passwords produce different hashes, so it makes cracking much harder. But of course, salt isn't enough. You need to use modern hashing, like for example, let's say bcrypt, and of course use password manager. It will be more secured. Then let's go to the shouldn't demo. This demo looks only at the public metadata. We don't connect to anything. So let's start with it. Imagine an attacker with 5 minutes to find a target. Let's just say this scenario. Instead of scanning the whole internet, I open Shouldn't, a search engine for internet-facing devices. I type a few filters like RDP, SSH, which is ports using for connection, or web admin, and Shouldn't returns page of systems that are already exposed. Each result show a small banner, the service name, the version, and the port it's running on. So as you can see in this picture, one second, the picture, yeah. I scanned Shouldn't for port 3389, which is the RDP port, which is a remote desktop protocol used for remote connection. To show the scale of exposed RDP service, Shouldn't return millions of results worldwide, roughly 3.5 million at the time I scanned. This number is very, very dangerous because some of them, of course, will be vulnerable to a brute force attacks. Let's just switch the hat to ethical hacker right now. I run the same search, but my goal is to protect, not to break. So I line up the result with the company assets list. Let's say, for example, this server, it is a management interface. So this management interface should be behind the VPN. So I document each thing, each finding. For example, I find a few laptops. They allow password without MFA, which is a multi-factor authentication, and still use a legacy protocols. Legacy term is outdated system that's still running old software version, missing security updates. With one pass or one look, we build a short action, as I said, hide the admin port and enforce multi-factor authentication, and remove or patch old service for scanning. So no guesswork, just fixing what shouldn't show the world. Now we're going to the most exciting part of this presentation, the IoT part. First, before I dive into the case study, I just want to give you guys like a small brief about the IoT part. When we talk about the IoT, which is the Internet of Things, we mean physical devices like cars, thermostats, cameras, or even light bulbs that are connected online and communicating with each other. In the automotive world, since we are going to talk about it in our case study, the IoT powers features like remote engine or remote start, to be more accurate, live GPS, mobile app integration. This makes the car smarter and more efficient, but they also open new doors for attackers. So before we dive to our case, remember, every connected system is a part of a larger IoT ecosystem. Okay. Before we dive into the main IoT case, I wanted to show you to get back in time. Back in 2015, the world had a wake-up call for the first time. A connected car was hacked remotely. It wasn't just theory, it happened live on a highway and completely changed how we view vehicle cybersecurity. If someone curious about how this happened, the researchers target the car's Uconnect infotainment system, which is the touch screen interface that handles the navigation, music, and like think of it like a mini computer inside the car or the vehicle. Because it's connected to the internet through a in SIM or SIM, they found a flaw that let them run the code remotely, which is something is very scary. From there, they reached the car internal communication network, which is called the CAN bus, which is control area network bus, which lets different parts of the car talk to each other. For example, like the brakes, engine, and steering. Once inside the network, they could send fake commands that the car accepted as real, letting them cut the transmission, tweak steering, apply the brakes remotely. So since then, the cars have become even more connected cloud platform, APIs, and mobile apps, and now managed from remote start to digital keys. Each of these innovations improve confidence, but also increases the attack surface for hackers. So instead of looking at another in-car system, we'll explore a modern web portal vulnerability that affected many vehicles at once, showing how attackers have shifted from the car itself to the cloud service that controls them. So now let's move from the 2015 chip incident to 2025 case study, where a flaw in a car maker's portal web portal allowed a remote access to multiple vehicles. Now that we have seen how the first remote car hack in 2015 opened everyone's eyes, let's forward a decade. This time the attack didn't target a single car, it targeted the digital backbone that connects thousands of them. This case was discovered by researcher Eton Zvier inside a major automobile dealer web portal. It was used nationwide by dealerships to manage vehicle data, owners, and remote commands. Through a flaw in the site authentication logic, he was able to register himself as a national level admin, gaining access to 1,000 dealerships. From there, he could view owner details, control vehicle functions such as remote unlock, engine start, and tracking, even call internal APIs that link directly to connected cars. This single vulnerability showed how a simple portal misconfiguration can cascade through the entire IoT cloud vehicle chain, turning a web bug into a real-world safety risk. Now we have seen the scale of the breach. Let's unpack how it actually happened, because the technical side is surprisingly simple but incredibly impactful. As you can see, I wrote broken access control because this wasn't some real exploit. It was broken access control, which is strength the #1 on the OWASP, which is Open Web Application Security. It's a non-profit organization focused on improving the web security worldwide. This tells you that the most critical web issues today is authorization logic failing in production. Something very simple but makes a huge impact. And in this case, it showed up as an IDOR, which is the portal trusted the object ID supplied by the client instead of validating the ownership on the server. So the app used the ID to fetch resource directory. That is the core weakness. So first, the porter accepted the client sent IDs and returned data. Second, by changing those IDs, for instance, switching one dealership identifier for another, the researcher could view other accounts records. So, and the third, the foothold let him chain further action. The attacker used access to create or promote to a national admin role. And once a national admin role appeared, the account had the legitimate access to back-end IPs and vehicle control passes. The rest of the impact followed him from the single logic gap, of course. So to prevent the IDOR, enforce the server-side ownership checks and implement strong role-based access control, which is the RBAC, which is something very important. And because the portal already hold the legitimate links to the cloud APIs, the same permission or tokens could reach the vehicle control endpoint. A small app layer bug that became a doorway to physical action. The key lesson here, there was no malware, no zero-day, just a weak logic and a broken trust boundaries. As you can see, it was a web app flow, and then cloud backend, and then IoT vehicles. For the technical guys, if someone wants to know how this happened, the porter and the vehicle API shared a cloud authentication tokens. After admin access, those tokens allowed calls to vehicle control endpoints that should have been isolated. This overprivileged IP integration, the cloud trusted the porter too much, and that trust became a path to a real commands like remote unlock and engine start. And of course, it turns into a physical risk. This slide shows why the CEH matters. After seeing how one vulnerability can cascade from a web flow to a physical risk, we now look at how CEH helps professionals. From my perspective, first one is recognized worldwide. CEH is trusted by the government, the Fortune 500, and defense organization. The second is the AI integration. CEH stays modern with every update. The new CEH AI versions add AI into each stage of the hacking phase, which is the reconnaissance, scanning, gaining access, and maintaining access, and covering tests, covering checks, of course. And then the hands-on and the real world, which is CEH has two parts right now: theory exam and the hands-on practice. The combination of knowledge and the real testing is real and powerful. In the practical, the students exploit system capture flag, exactly what I have just been discussing, and of course covering multiple domains, and it is useful for both teams, the red team and the blue team. And the last thing is the career boost. CEH is a keyword that recruiters and security leaders actively look for. And I have very, very special feature, is the academic credit. Another advantage is that the CEH credits can be converted into academic credit hours through EC Council University. That means that time and effort you invest in certification can count toward formal degrees, saving time and expanding career pathways. It's rare to find a certification that bridges on hand-on skills with academic recognition. So that brings us to the end of the main content for today. We have seen how a real-world cases connect directly to what CEH teaches, from identifying vulnerabilities to understanding how attacks escalate across systems. And from my perspective, having two teams makes the organization fully, let's just say, fully covered from each domain. For example, you need to have the attacker mindset, which is the red team. And we as discussed in our presentation, simply it is the adversary emulation. For example, the adversary emulation from the proactive, you're just trying to break into the system, and the blue team trying to see the defensive plan or the defensive perimeter. Have they configured it so no one could access it? So this is the collaboration that only the organization must use. From my perspective, I say that a lot of red team not focused on, more on the blue teams, which is something that must all organizations to focus on the red team, because the attacker's mindset is the key. And from my perspective too, again, having the attacker mindset, could you switch from the red team to the blue team, or even do both to give you the edge to think, to be honest, from my perspective. The key here is the supply chain. As I said before, the supply chain attacks, as I said, is 45%, which is like half half of the mix, or I think 35. I don't remember the percentage correctly, but the most important thing to the business, from my perspective again, is the third-party vendors, which is something very slept on. No one focus on the third party. They just keep defending the organization from, let's just say, the mobile the domain, as we talked before, the network domain, the applications domain, even the Active Directory domain. So you keep defending, very, very secure, and then the supply chain attacks comes from nowhere, from unexpected threat, which is a third party, because the third party won't focus on its security. They're saying like, no one will attack us, so why do we need to update our Windows, for example? Maybe some third party vendors are still using Windows 7, which is so vulnerable to, as I said in our presentation, AI and automation are rapidly tipping the ethical or the cybersecurity, from my perspective. That transform both offensive and defensive. Right now, AI, I think, from the defensive part is very good, because there is some mitigations that is very simple. Like, for example, SQL injection, there is some keywords you need to blacklist it in your in your application. So this AI will do it in seconds. So this is from the defensive part. From the offensive part, I think offensive, still some people think outside of the box. I think from my perspective till now, AI still cannot handle it, but 10 years ago, who knows? So I think like offensive part is like an art, not just like some steps you do it. It's like let's just say a very secure area you try to break in, so the regular just walk in won't go. So you try very outside of the box ideas to try to break in. So AI till now, I don't think he will do it right now, but in 10 years I think yeah. From my experience, I started CH with zero experience, to be honest, and you will need nothing, just consistency and hard work, and never give up, because the CH contains all the domains. I'm not kidding, all the domains. It's like 20 chapters, and each chapter, it's not like giving to you 2 words and just like that's it. No, just 20 chapters, and you will learn every attack on cybersecurity. So the red team, the blue team, the purple team, all of them will need the CH, because you will learn every domain and each attack of it, very technical, and not just theoretical. There is a practical exam, which is a CH practical, so you won't just focus on the theoretical part. Plus there is academic credit, so the hours you put it in this certification can turn into academic credit. So win-win situation. From my perspective, bug bounty is very like for ethical hacker, it's like treasure. You just like try to find treasure from the ocean, to be honest. Once you find a bug bounty, you just cannot stop. You keep trying and trying. And proactive measure, to be honest, I don't think like, how can I say it to you guys? Proactive measure, you try to defend yourself from actually attacks. Like, for example, let's just say I know I have a login form. Let's just say login page, to be honest. Okay, login page. What is the typical login page attacks? SQL injection, maybe cross-site scripting. What else? Maybe password weak logic or authentication logic. So the proactive measure here is how to defend, how to think how the attackers can like this is the ethical hacker job is to look at the login page. Okay, this is a login page. Okay, I will close the cross-site scripting, the SQL injection, and the weak logic or the authentication logic. So there is a huge difference between, because the bug bounties is focusing on just finding the vulnerabilities and documented and reported to the organization and just get the rewards to it. But I don't think they want the organization to be vulnerable so they can live. The proactive measure, not like that. Different, very huge difference. To be honest, I took a long time to try to understand the adversary emulation, because the amount of non-thread group attacks is huge. So I will tell you my way of doing these things, and if it's not close to your way of thinking, you don't need to try it like word by word. Look, you need to try to see the famous or the, let's just start from the old. Start with the old thread group. Try to think of how the organization can take advantage from this, and then try to read a lot of research about this thread group. And after that, you try to think of how can I defend to my organization about this. This will make you improve the way of thinking. So later on, you will not just think. You're just gonna see the new attack and or the known thread group. You're going to just doing the same steps, and it's like very normal to you. If you already obtain more advanced certification, or let's take the question into three parts. The first part is, do you need CH if you already obtained more advanced certification? The answer is yes. Is it still eye-catching for HR? This is, my friend, this is a keyword for recruiters. I see it on live. People search jobs by the keyword CH, okay? And what does it add to you? Knowledge as a red teamer. It adds you everything. Imagine as a red teamer, for example, the IoT case study, we covered how many domains? Let's count it. First was the web domain, which is application domain, and then we moved into the IoT domain, or the cloud domain, to be honest, cloud domain, the IoT domain, and then the physical domain. Okay, still domain, but the main focus is the three domains. Imagine the CH contains 20 domains. Of course, it is not exactly, there is not 20 domains, but they give you all information about each domain, okay? So how about the CH covered 3 and there is 17 left chapters? Can you imagine how this is? So as a red teamer, it showed me a lot of attacks, and it helps me to on the CTF platforms, to be honest, because the CH practical it's like a CTF challenge in a strict hour. So very, very fun exam. Till now, there is no cure for it. I saw this a lot of time. You try to update the latest update of any application, and then you found out, oh, the newest update is vulnerable. So it's like there is a pros and cons for this situation. To be honest, this in future, I think AI will take a huge part in this situation, especially in this situation, because it will help a lot of organizations that need it. The most demand, look, for what I see the most right now is the Active Directory domain and the web application domain, or the web domain, to be more clearly. And the network domain is not like direct network domain, but still some, just say Active Directory, and it still has network domain inside of it. So the big three, our ranking it from 1 to 3: the web domain, and then the Active Directory domain, and then the network domain. This is the most used one, or the most famous one, or demanded, which I use the most too. I just wanted you guys to work hard, keep consistent, and trust me that the cybersecurity are now being so much valuable, because there is a huge amount of unawareness of a lot of domains, especially the IoT and the OT domain. In the next 10 years, they will dominate the world. And remember my words.